The reason why I feel like videos like this are very necessary nowadays is because, once again, I started doing my readings, my research on American history and whatnot, and I'm seeing a through line with all the things that I'm learning, and the through line is religion, specifically Christianity. And I've had a tumultuous relationship with Christianity, because I personally love Christianity from the standpoint of a mythology. I don't like Christianity as a religion. If you want me to go further into that, then hit that subscribe, hit that noti bell. Listen, I'll put the video out tomorrow if you want me to. And now I've reached to a point where it's just like, okay, I need everybody to start opening their eyes, because Christianity is being actively used as a weapon to subjugate us, and we're not seeing what's happening because the majority of this country are Christians, right? The majority of the planet are Christians. And I'm not trying to undo that. I'm not trying to be like, we all got to be atheists. No, listen. I personally don't care what you believe. I honestly love theology as a whole entire topic. If you want to talk theology, let's talk theology. You know how they say that autistic people, like they know a lot about trains, and like they know a lot about planes, and like they can tell you, that's my bag. My bag is not trains. My bag is books about psychology, sociology, theology, like hella mythology books up here, hella psychology books down here, hella sociology books up here. Like, this is my bag, and it's always been my bag. I didn't know how to name it, but these are always the kind of books that have been interesting to me. So I will now get into the definitions part of this video. And the reason why I feel like I want to do something like this is because I was recently having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were just talking about our stances on religion, like what we believe, you know. And I told him what I believe and what I don't believe, and he was like, yeah, no, that's pretty much what I believe, but I would just say that I'm an agnostic. And I'm just like, well, agnostics just believe this, and if you're agreeing with what I believe, then you're just this. And he was like, nah, I guess you're right. And it made me realize that, like, this isn't everybody's trans. You know, this isn't everybody's thing that they're like super interested in, that they know a crazy amount about. So let me be the person to tell you about it, right? Let me be the person to tell you what these things mean, in case you do care about this kind of thing, and you just don't, it's not your trend, but you do care about it. It's just not your hyperfixation, right? You do have better ways of explaining yourself whenever you get into these situations and whatnot. So for this part of the video, I'll actually be grabbing this dictionary behind me. I'll be reading off the definitions that are in the dictionary, but I'll actually be putting up the definitions on the screen from Wikipedia, because this is an old dictionary. Some of the definitions in here are a little bit outdated. So I have a couple words and terms over here that I really want to define, because I probably might be referencing them several times. We're just going to start with the basics. I also realize that a lot of people don't know how to read, and it's nothing to be ashamed of sometimes. Especially in this country, the literacy rate is actually putrid. So it's not even something that you should be making fun of people for, because the majority of the country can't really read properly. So I think that having videos like this that define things will help those people be able to understand and better put a name and put a word to how they feel about something. So first word that I have here is theism. Definition 1, belief in one God as the creator of everything in the universe. Definition 2, belief in the existence of a god or gods. I usually like to go with the second definition, because the definition 1, which is belief in one God as the creator of everything, it's not something that polytheists claim. even though that polytheists are still also theists. Polytheists, poly meaning many, theism meaning the belief in a god or gods. So the belief in many god or gods, as opposed to monotheism, mono meaning one, theism meaning the belief in God and God. Like, side note, I just realized a lot of people don't do this when they're reading, like breaking down words. So once again, the literacy crisis. Not to make people feel bad or anything, but please, if you can't understand a word, or if a word looks too big, just break it down into smaller pieces. I promise you, it will be easier to understand. Like poly and mono, like they're usually used for different things, and they, like, if you can break down the word, it's very easy to figure it out. Like polyamory, monologue, like, you know. So once you know these things, like, you know, poly means more than one, mono meaning one. Any word that you see that says poly or says mono, you know what you know at least half of what the word means, and then you can go on to try to figure out what the other half of the word means. So that was just a side note. Next word we have is deism. Belief in the existence of a god based only on natural reason without reference to revelation. Is there a second? There's deistic, deity, a god or goddess, the state of being divine. So yeah, deism is basically like, it's theism but without the belief part. Like, deists do think that there's a god, but they often don't think that the god is interpersonal with humans. So whereas theists believe in a god, like they believe that there's a god out there that has like a personal relationship with them, like most Christians are theists. Deists, they believe that there is a god somewhere out there, but they don't think that the god has like some interpersonal relationship. So they do think that there's some creator or creators out there, but they don't think that there's a interpersonal relationship that they have with us. So it could be a situation where deists, they believe that God created us and just left and went on to his next project, or he created us and then he died, you know. So deists do believe a god exists, they just don't believe in the god, right? DEFG. Then we have Gnosticism, that is with a G in the beginning, so Gnosticism, if it helps you pronounce it easier, but do not pronounce the G. It's Gnosticism, a religious movement involving belief in intuitive spiritual knowledge. So initially, when I read that definition, it was not as straightforward what that meant as it might be to other people. So I'll just say what my understanding of Gnostic, like, or the Gnostic belief or Gnosticism is. It is intuitive. So we can break this down again. Hello, Poopy. Nudging my bag. Yes. Her name Lulu, but we call her Poopy. Don't ask me why. Intuitive. To be intuitive is to feel. It's to believe. It's to believe based on feelings rather than facts or proof. Like most people who have a belief in a god, they don't need proof of God. They just believe that he exists. So they have intuitive knowledge of God's existence. It's faith. It's just faith. I should have just said faith from the beginning. That was a pretty long-winded explanation for no goddamn reason. But yeah, intuitive mystical knowledge. So they know of intuitive meaning meaning faith, basically. Mystical meaning superpowered, supernatural, whatever you have. Intuitive mystical knowledge. I don't know if you could just say that you're a Gnostic. It starts to make more sense when you combine these phrases, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Gnosticism is the claim of knowledge. You claim to know. Then we have atheism, the belief that there is no God. See this, like, I don't even like this definition because it even says right here from the Greek word without, theos, God. So it pretty much means without God. So I don't understand how you can get from the phrase meaning without God to meaning there is no God. That's a whole different claim, brother. Yeah, this is one of those ones where I don't agree with the definition that's in this dictionary. This is a little bit of an older dictionary, but atheist alone, atheism itself does not posit the belief that there is no God. Atheists just lack the belief in a God. So where theism is the belief in a God, atheism is the lack of belief in a God or gods. That's all that it is. It'll make more sense once I actually defined, once we actually get to the next definition. Look at that. Agnostic. A person who believes that it is impossible to know whether God exists. Definition 2. A person who claims that the answer to some specific questions cannot be known with certainty. Yes, that is what it means to be agnostic. So whereas Gnostics believe that, you do actually pronounce the G in agnostic. But where Gnostics believe that they have some intuitive mystical knowledge, agnostics claim we don't know shit. We have no knowledge of whether or not God exists. You guys probably know a couple people like that who are just like,
I don't know, like maybe there's a God that exists. Like I just don't know.
And it's like I said, it lends credence to what I was saying about theism and atheism. How do we get from theism meaning the belief in God and gods to atheism meaning there is no God? When Gnostic means I have knowledge and agnostic means I have no knowledge. I don't know how we got to this definition, but yeah, those are pretty much all I'm going to need this dictionary for. Then we get to the combinations of these words, because the combinations actually create a whole new definition with each of these words. So there is agnostic theism. Once again, breaking down the phrases. Agnostic meaning I don't know. Theism meaning I believe. So the agnostic theist does believe that there is a God or gods, but they do not claim to know for certain that there is. So it might be someone who's just like, I do believe that there's a God up there, but I mean, who knows? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I'm sure that you know someone who said some shit just exactly like that before. They're an agnostic theist. Then we have Gnostic theism. Gnostic meaning to have knowledge. Theism meaning to believe in a god or gods. So Gnostic theism meaning I believe and I also have knowledge that God exists. Most people from the Abrahamic religion are Gnostic theists. They will use the Bible. They will bring up the Bible and they just be like, boom, the Bible. God exists. Boom, gotcha. Right? So that is a Gnostic theist. Gnostic atheist. Gnostic atheism is basically what everyone thinks that atheism stands for. So basically it is atheist, the belief, the lack of belief in gods, and Gnostic, the belief, the knowledge. So they claim to know that there is no God. I don't believe that there is a God, and I know that there is no God. That is a Gnostic atheist. So once again, when you think of atheists, you're thinking of Gnostic atheists. Atheism is just simply the lack of belief in a God. Gnostic atheists are people who lack the belief in a God, and they also know that there is no God. That is not the same thing as an atheist. And then we have an agnostic atheist. Agnostic meaning I don't claim to know. Atheist meaning I don't believe. So it's someone who says like,
I don't believe in God. But who knows? Maybe there is a God. Maybe there isn't a God. Who knows? Maybe he's out there.
And that is where I land. I would call myself an agnostic atheist. If anyone asks, I just say that I'm an atheist. But if you care to know, I'm an agnostic atheist, where I'm not going to say that there is no God. I just simply don't believe in a God. And this is the part of the video that's going to kind of turn into a deconstruction video, or just a whole nother video to begin with. Once again, I don't know what I'm going to end up doing. This is going on for a while. I might turn this into 3 videos. If I do end up turning it into 3 videos, then that brings this video to a close, and you can go on to watch the next video. Once again, it's probably up at the same time as the first 2 videos. So yeah, just go straight over to that video, just if you don't want to watch this all in one sitting. Or I could just decide to put this all in one video and roll the clip. Stay over there. Stay over there. I don't like you. I don't want anything to do with you. And you can click off the video. I don't need your views either. Fuck you.